Chapter 7. Rule number 2. Hannah stood in front of the pawnshop's doors, her fingers wrapped around its tarnished brass knob. The metal chilled her skin. She had watched countless clients walk in and out of their pawnshop, but not once had she dared to follow them outside. Her clients were not bound by the same rules as she, and this particular rule did not require an enforcer. What Hannah had been told about the world outside and the front door was something out of a tale mothers would tell their children to make them behave. She had heard that there was a time when it might have been difficult to tell the two worlds apart, but now they could not be more different. Her client's world was a twisting maze of blind corners and dark paths of regret. Hannah had not met a single client who was not lost. Raised in a world where detours were forbidden, and one's entire life was mapped, she could not imagine a more terrifying place to be sent to the other world was called. She could not imagine a more terrifying place. To be sent to the other world was called exile, though Hannah knew that it was just a kinder word for the truth. To linger in the world beyond the door was to be erased, until not a strand of hair or inch of skin or fragment of bone remained. Hannah's father told her that being erased wasn't painful, but the look in his eyes told Hannah that it was simply what he chose to believe. She did not. Hannah did not like to think that her mother had suffered when the shikun had sentenced her to exile, dragged her outside the door, and left her to die. Hannah tightened her grip on the doorknob, wondering how much she had on the other side before she faded away. Takina Uzumi's choice and her father were missing, and it had become very clear where they had both gone, out the front door. Whether the choice had been stolen or had escaped did not matter. The consequences of not retrieving it were the same, and Shikun's greatest pleasure was to be cruel. Hannah imagined her father chasing after the missing choice, casting every rule aside, and now she was about to do the same. She steeled her jaw and pulled the door open. A dark shape towered over her. Hannah jumped back and screamed. I'm sorry," said a voice as smooth and smoky as the whiskey her father saved for special occasions. Hannah ripped off her mother's glasses and squinted, trying to make out the figure standing against the sunlight. The man was tall and lean, his perfect posture cutting a sharp line. "Who are you?" "I'm sorry I startled you. I was just about to knock. My name is Minatozaki Kishun." Hannah studied his face, attempting to reconcile his accent with his features. Though there was no fault in his choice of words, the way he spoke them gave away that he was from a place far from Tokyo. Her gaze traced his sharp jawline, the elegant symmetry of his nose and lips, but the warmth of the pools behind his dark lashes kept her from straying from his eyes for too long. Hannah blinked to keep from falling into them. "What do you want?" "A cure for jet lag." Kishin flashed a lopsided smile. "But I'll settle for a bowl of ramen. This restaurant was highly recommended by a colleague at work. I haven't been able to sleep since my flight got in last night, and so I figured I would just take my chances and check if you were open for breakfast." "This is not a restaurant." Hannah spoke slowly, trying to keep her voice steady. But the sign outside said, "This is my pawn shop." My pawn shop. The words cut Hannah's tongue. "Oh, my mistake. Sorry for bothering you." He made a small bow and froze midway, his eyes stopping at Hannah's bare feet. "You're bleeding." Hannah glanced down. Blood pooled beneath her left heel. She winced, noticing the pain for the first time. That looks like a pretty deep cut." "It is nothing." Hannah gripped the edge of the door and took the weight off her bleeding foot. Kishin caught a glimpse of the chaos behind her. "Holy shit," he said, cursing in a language Hannah did not understand. He dug into his pocket and pulled out his phone. "I'm going to call the police." "Hannah, no." Hannah clutched her wrist. The warmth of her skin rippled through her fingers. Her breath caught in her throat. This was the first time she had touched anyone from the other side of the door. Hannah had taken great care to keep her clients at a distance, regardless of how much they wept or silently longed to be held. She had imagined they would feel cold and stiff, like the tags she wore their names on. Transactions, her father often reminded her, were not meant to be warm. She pulled Kaishin inside the pawn shop and shoved the door shut. She let go of his arm and stuffed her hands deep into her pockets, keenly aware of the lingering heat over her skin. There was no need for the police. Kashin ran a finger over the spot where Hannah had held him, seemingly undecided if he was startled or bemused. Hannah wondered if she felt warm to him too. He glanced around the pawn shop, his brows wrinkling into a frown. What happened here? There was an accident. Kishin narrowed his eyes. What kind of accident? The cut in her foot throbbed. Hannah bit down the pain. She would take a look at the cut. She would take a look at that cut. Oh. We should take a look at that cut. Do you have anything we can use to clean it? I do, but... Good. Hopefully it isn't too deep and you won't need stitches. Thank you, but I do not. Don't worry. I'm a doctor. Just kidding. Don't worry, I'm a doctor.